What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Terrence Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford said that he would rather face 4 other guys other than Kell Brooke. Kell Brooke looks like a possibility, but he would prefer to fight Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, or Errol Spence, and not in that order. Okay? And Errol Spence, of course, would be first, Manny Pacquiao second, Keith Thurman, then Danny Garcia. And a lot of people are asking and wondering why Keith Thurman. Me counterpunching, my humble opinion. I think Terence Crawford wants Keith Thurman because he wants a common opponent with Manny Pacquiao. Him and Manny Pacquiao were once stable mates on the same network, which was ESPN with Top Rank, if you guys can remember. And it was a lot of back and forth to who wanted to fight who and who was running from who and who was ducking from who. Remember that? All we knew is Manny Pacquiao wanted $20 million to face Terrence Bud Crawford, right? Okay. Well, what ended up happening is Manny Pacquiao ended up signing with Al Heyman in order to get a Floyd fight. Floyd tricked you. Right? And he ended up fighting Adrian Broner, La Máquina, Lucas Matisse, and Keith Thurman. And he took Keith Thurman's WBA Super World title. And what he did was he took his O all at the same time. Okay. Now, a lot of people say, well, why does he want Keith Thurman over Kell Brooke? Well, neither of them have a belt. Well, for 2 reasons, in my humble opinion. For one, I think that Keith Thurman, I gave you one already. He's a common opponent with Keith Thurman. But he wants to fight Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman is another Al Heyman fighter, okay? And it's breaking that that narrative that, oh, PBC fighters can't fight top-ranked fighters. So that's one reason. And if he could get that fight with Keith Thurman, there will be no reason, or should be no reason, why he couldn't fight Errol Spence or Danny Garcia. Okay, because he's breaking into that back door of the PBC banner and their stablemates. He's breaking into that market of fighting and beating those guys. Okay, and I think the last reason, which is the most important, Keith Thurman just simply talked so much trash. Okay? Keith Thurman said things about Terrence Crawford that he didn't say about any of the fighters that he fought, like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. He said things like, Terrence Crawford ain't even a real champion. Terrence Crawford is barely a champion. Terrence Crawford, we don't even recognize Terrence Crawford at the WBO. The WBO really don't mean much. You know, he's not who, you know, he isn't anything in the welterweight division. He hasn't beat anyone to fight or to be recognized in the division. From him being a champ, from him being the #1 mandatory, taking on Mr. Australia, Jeff Horn, the Hornet, and beating the Hornet, right? Stinging the Hornet, knocking out, stopping the Hornet in 9th round. Something that Manny Pacquiao couldn't do. However, Manny Pacquiao could do that to you. He could beat you all around the ring, give you hell being a congressman and 40 years of age. So, this is what we have. I think that's the real, true, honest reason why Terence Crawford added Thurman in there, because Thurman had a lot to say. Thurman talked a lot about Terence Crawford, and it was all negative. And it just lets you know that there is corporate rivalry, favoritism, that's bleeding through and through. And I like Keith Thurman. I know Keith Thurman is talking a lot, but he talked a lot to do nothing. See, if you're going to blast a fighter and you call him barely a champion. Okay, if you're going to call him barely a champion, get in the ring and show you how less of a champion that he really is to everybody that would listen. Okay? That would be what you could do instead of just, right? Because that's all he did. He tried to discredit Thurman, even though he was recognized as the best pound for pound. Right? When have you seen Keith Thurman the best pound for pound ever? When is the last time you seen Keith Thurman hungry? What, when Floyd Mayweather was still fighting for real? Do you know what Floyd Mayweather's true last fight was? Andre Berto. Yes, I'm pointing to the poster. I have a poster of Floyd and Berto in my living room. Okay? That was his last fight. Do you know when that was? 2015. You know how long ago that was? That was 5 calendar years ago. Okay? Give or take some months, all right? For the sticklers. Well, actually, it's 5 years ago. Okay? So he ain't been hungry in 5 years. That's half a decade, people. But then he had a lot to say about the best #1 pound-for-pound fighter coming from 140 after wiping out the total division, after wiping out the division before that division, after becoming Ring magazines in both of those weight classes. Then he comes to 147 and runs into a whole lot of BS politics from the P, B, and the C. Okay? That's why he wants Keith Thurman, because he wants to shut him up. Terrence Crawford don't talk a lot. You ever hear those guys that's real quiet and they say, man, the most quiet ones is the ones that's the most dangerous? Yes, sir. Counterpunch. They are the ones that will take your head off. They ain't got time to talk. Okay? Yes, everybody's trying to be like Ali, but hey, it ain't like being like yourself. Okay? And Terrence Crawford will exactly take your head off. And he's mean, he's vicious, he's skillful, he's talented. He's pound for pound, and it looks like, if I'm Keith Thurman, and I'm saying all this about Terrence Crawford, and knowing where he sits in the boxing world, you would want to take him out if you barely thought he was a champion. Okay? That's why he's at it. Danny Garcia, same as the Keith Thurman, minus the trash talk. However, they got history too. Danny Garcia and Terrence Crawford has had beef back and forth. They fought each other in the amateurs once upon a time. Okay? They wanted to fight when Terrence Crawford was ascending up to 140, but Danny Garcia left and he went to 147. Started fighting guys like Samuel Vargas and those kind of cats before taking on the Keith Thurman when Keith Thurman was somewhat still hungry. Okay? Was an ex-champion. Okay? So yeah, they got beef too. You know what I mean? So those guys fought together. They want each other. You know, Angel Garcia has helped talk a lot of trash about Terrence Crawford. Again, a lot of negativity. So it pretty much his dad probably wrote him a check that his son's ass may not can cash. Okay? That's why. Because we have Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, ex-champions, but not currently champions, but they've talked enough to make Terrence Crawford want to get in there and show them what's up. That's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think about his selection. That's why he wants to take it over Kell Brooke, because Kell Brooke hasn't been a champion since Errol Spence beat him. Right? But anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.